Being spiritual is your original constitution. So that means if you're spiritual, you're just being yourself. And we all know how cool it is to be in your own skin, right? How comfortable it is to be your own self.
Today in studio with us is Miss Anjali Advani. She is a finance professional working with a multinational investment company. She is a chartered accountant, a company secretary, and a master in commerce, and has also very recently graduated from the Oxford University in FinTech's program. A very interesting fact about her is that she is a spiritual life coach and has had many experiences during her travel, which has given her a holistic perspective of life. Hope you enjoy today's session and have exciting takeaways from today's session as well. Thank you, Anjali, for being with me here today. And I'm really very blessed and happy that you accepted my offer to be doing this talk show with me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Monica. It's my privilege to be here, actually. Thank you for inviting me here. And thank you for the kind introduction that you mentioned about. But I would like to rectify that because it's all false tags.
Okay, what do you mean by false tags?
That's not the true introduction, actually.
Okay.
It's basically these all these tags that I attach to myself and people attach to me is temporary. I'm gonna leave that behind, right? So that's not actually the true introduction.
So what exactly is the true introduction, Anjali?
So the true introduction, which is common for all living beings, is that we are souls and we are part of the super soul. So as we say that, let's say we have different parts of the body and the body is the whole. Like I have my hands, I have my eyes. And when all of these parts together come along to serve the entire body is when the body will function correctly.
Okay, I think I understand what you mean. Nice, lovely. So let's get into my very first question to start off with you. Being a finance professional, you actually moved towards the path of spirituality. So what I want to know is, do you see any benefits in being spiritual and seeking and wanting to seek the higher entity?
Actually, we all are constitutionally spiritual. You must have heard the famous saying that we are spirit souls having human experience and not human beings having spiritual experiences, right? So I would like to twist that question like, what are the disadvantages of being material, like not spiritual, I would say. So let's say spiritual versus material, push to pose. So it's like being spiritual is your original constitution. So that means if you're spiritual, you're just being yourself. And we all know how cool it is to be in your own skin, right? How comfortable it is to be your own self. So what are the disadvantages of not being spiritual should be actually in the question that I would like to answer.
Yeah.
So being material is basically you have a layer covered over your original constitution, your eternal self. Okay. And that conditioning needs to be removed. Like you just cleanse,
Dust it off.
yeah, you just dust it off. And then you actually go to your pure, true original self. So it's like maybe you take an example of a vessel or utensil or maybe a mirror on which there is a lot of layers, dust accumulated over a period of time. So what do? You just rub it off to cleanse it. And what happens is the final true luster somewhere, the shine comes out. So that is what it is when you are actually spiritual.
Okay, that's very interesting. So, does that mean, so now since you picked up the topic of material and spiritual, is there a connection between the two, if I may ask? Because from what I understand, a lot of times, if you take the spiritual aspect of life, people say that they tend to lose out on the material aspect of life. So is it true that if you choose one way, you have to let go the other way, or are they somehow connected, since you brought out this topic on, the mirror and the dust and then brushing it all off and then finding your true self?
And yes, there is a connection. And the other part of the question, whether you pick one and you face the other, that's also partially true. So let me just explain elaborately. So what happens is actually there is a material world and a spiritual world, which we all are aware of. So it is connected by, it's actually energy. So material world is the external energy of the Lord and the spiritual world is the internal energy of the Lord. Okay. The Lord is the supreme energy, let's call it, the divinity which we all know as. These two are the energies of the Lord. And we, as living entities, okay, we are like we call ourselves as marginal energy, like in between. So, like imagine yourself standing at the beach on the shore. One side is the sea, and one side is the sand. So, when you face the sea, you're not facing the sand, okay? And when you turn towards sand, you're not facing the sea. So, yes, when you are progressing, when you are being attracted towards the material energy, the external energy of the Lord, yes, you are walking away from the internal energy and vice versa.
Okay, so if you say that the material energy is also part of the Lord, why is it wrong to be totally materialistic?
No, it's not wrong. It's not absolutely wrong. Well, when you pick towards one side, so let's say when we were studying for our CA examinations, so I could actually be in the library studying, or I could be in the college canteen working with my friends. It's either or. Neither is wrong. Maybe when I'm taking a break from my studies, the 12-hour studies that we did, then that time it is good to be in the canteen, right? But I cannot be all the time in the canteen, and then it's good to be in the library too. Yeah. So I'm not saying one is right or one is wrong. What we need to understand as humans is like we need to establish a balance between those. And the main aim is like how we can use this external energy of the Lord to bring us closer to the eternal energy. Yeah. So we use all of these facilities, all of these arrangements which have been provided us in the material world to go back to the spiritual world.
Okay, but I think a lot of times we beings are so engrossed in the materialistic world, then I don't think we are seeing the purpose of being materialistic, because it's, at the end of the day, the goal is to be one with the internal energy, which is the spiritual side of it. I think we are losing out on the purpose itself in this materialistic world, right?
That is why we need conversations like these so that we can spread the
So that's true. That's true. And I definitely appreciate that vision of yours, that you want to really come out and let people know that there is another side to the materialistic world, which is a higher goal to be achieved. Now, since you are, I would say, an expert in many scriptures, or that's how I think about you, what is that one goal you see, or maybe there could be more than one goal, I'm not sure, but what is the common goal you see in all of these scriptures, and do you see us going closer to this goal, or you see that human race is very far from it still?
Sure. So, because I have been studying in a convent school in my initial days when I was schooling, and then after I completed my CACS and all of that, I moved to UA, and I have been brought up in a Hindu religion background family. So, yes, I do have an exposure towards all of these religions, and have read a lot of religious scriptures across all of these faiths. So, for me, if I had to understand what the goal of all of this is, if you say let's to pick one goal, common goal, I would say it is establishing or developing the love of Godhead, the divine love. We establishing that. That is.
And how do we know who is this Godhead? How do we? It could be from any faith. How do you see that a person could identify this Godhead?
Well, we all have an eternal relationship with the divinity, and it is your journey to reawaken that relationship which is dormant right now, which you have forgotten. So you just connect to yourself first, and then you connect to your higher self.
Let me tell you, Anjali, we are so engrossed in our routine lives, because at the end of the day, I think we are all, I know at one point in time, the purpose of working and earnings was to meet your basic requirements only. But today it's beyond just basic requirements, because our day in and day out, we are only thinking about accumulating wealth, not only for ourselves, but even for the future generation. So when we are in this sort of a routine, in this sort of a hectic lifestyle, how do you or what do you recommend we do in order to see ourselves go a step ahead to achieving this goal?
So actually, there's no harm or there's nothing wrong in accumulating wealth. In fact, I would encourage people who are working to actually amass wealth. But the problem is, what are you doing of that wealth? What is the end? Wealth is just a means. Okay. So, as we said in the beginning, we use the material energy towards the spiritual energy to get closer to the spiritual energy, right? So, if I have wealth, okay, and I use it for bringing myself and everybody else closer to our goal, which is going back to the spiritual world. So then that wealth is not bad, right? So there's no harm. But as you say that we are so engrossed, we are like completely absorbed in this rat race that we forget the actual goal. We actually don't have a purpose, most of us. We are just that 9 to 6 routine and then the Netflix series and then we are done with the day. So what do you do in your routine life? It's not really difficult. You don't need to add something or you don't need to really take some time out from your busy schedule. All you do is that whatever activity you're doing, you continue to do, but the only thing that changes is the intention or the consciousness of the activity that you do, the consciousness with which you do that activity. So there could be two options here. One, I'm doing all of this for myself, for my sense gratification. Okay, let's say if I want to accumulate all of this wealth, maybe because I want to give myself a very comfortable, luxurious life, or I like to climb in the corporate hierarchy.
Or feel proud.
Yeah. Or
myself.
Yeah. So feeling proud is basically
A sense.
satisfying your subtle sense,
Yes.
which is your false ego.
Yeah.
And being comfortable and all of that luxurious and all is your gross senses, which you give a physical comfort. So physical comfort, mental comfort. So all of this is not wrong, but it is if you do it just for your own sense gratification, as to say you being selfish, that is not how you do it. You do it by why? The why should be clear, that you need to go closer to the spiritual world. Because how you do that is you use all of these facilities for the service of the divinity and everybody else whom you see as a part of the divinity.
Okay, so do you mean to say that the intention of doing that activity should always be keeping in mind the ultimate eternal Godhead?
Yeah, exactly.
Like you mentioned.
So either you could be serving your senses, gross or subtle, or you could be serving Godhead, divinity, whatever you might call it, right? So it could be either of the two. Every activity that you do, it could be this. Like let's say for an example, as we are women and we take care of our children, so I could be taking care of my children so that they grow out to become some X, Y, Z, some intention, some goals for them, so that I become a proud mother. You know, my child did that and achieved that. So it's still at some level,
It's about you.
yeah, it's still sense gratification on a subtle level, right? But it could be like, okay, the Lord has given me this child. I am a trustee. Okay, I'm not a proprietor of this child. Okay, so I need to take care of this child so that he goes closer back home, back to Godhead. So that is the activity is same. I'm taking care of the child, but the consciousness is different. You see,
Yeah.
even in the working environment when we go, I'm earning my salary, but it's not for this. I could be using that money for something else.
Right.
Like you're doing this podcast, let's say for an example. People could do podcasts so that they could get fame, fan following, let my video go viral. Normally that is the intention. But now you are here. You have invited me. Why? Because you want people to get aware about this knowledge so that they can go closer to their goal. At least realize there is a goal.
Right. And definitely I would also want to mention the fact that I recently found, I should say that I think everyone has a reason why we start turning towards the spiritual side of life. And probably for me, I don't know if I'd still found that, but definitely a good friend of mine mentioned it to me, and I said, I want to explore that side of life as well. And yes, I'm very happy doing that as well. And I'm very thankful that you're here, Anjali.
Thankful to you. The Lord is really happy that you got the opportunity, that somebody informed you about it, and you're still exploring,
Right.
and you're already keen enough to bring more people into it. Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's the highest service, I tell you can do. The Lord loves it.
I'm very, very happy and thankful to hear that. So finally, to close this off, I would want to know, there are a lot of people, probably like me, who were at one point in time stuck and who are still stuck and don't know probably how to take the next step into the spiritual side of their lives. So there could be people who have realized it but don't know where and how to do it, or there could be someone who's listening to us and they don't know. Probably they realize now after listening to us that they now want to take this step. So what would you recommend? How should one take the next steps to get into exploring the spiritual side of life?
Okay, let's again go back to our CA days. Okay, before we even were sure that we want to take that step of enrolling with the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Okay, what did we do when we were still exploring? Should I do CA, CAS, or maybe some MBA, or what were we doing? Like, what did we first do? What would we do? What any student would do when they're still exploring, just, or maybe any other course for that example. It applies to all.
I don't know, maybe they would talk to each other.
Talk to somebody who's already in it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Who's already studying or who's already
Right.
completed.
At least that was my reason.
Or all of us.
Yeah.
Like, I also approached my friend's father, who's already a chartered accountant, to take some guidance, because in my family they were not really professionally qualified and all of that. So yeah, I had to seek help from outside. What is CA? I didn't even know it's PE1, not P1, P2, P3 those days. Yeah. So I need to understand how many years will it take, how much will it cost, what it means, what it is, right? So we talk to somebody who's already in it, who already has that experience of being there, having done that. So similarly, in this one also, you approach a spiritual coach or somebody who's already experienced it. Okay, and then you ask them how to initiate your steps, because it could be different for each one. It cannot be like a one-stop store solution.
And even the timing could be different for each one.
Sure.
So I don't know how would someone realize that now probably is the time to get into it. But let's say they have decided. So next what?
Well, actually, it's always a time. Because the Lord is actually waiting for you to turn towards Him. He's desperately waiting for you to turn towards Him, and He's continuously rerouting you towards Him. At each step, it's only for you to realize and see that this is a rerouting, okay? Even a failure could be a blessing in disguise, actually, which is actually rerouting you towards your higher goal. When something is said no to you, you're declined. That no, you don't. When you really wanted something, I think everybody can resonate with this, that I really wanted something and it was declined, and after a few months or few days or whatever time span, I realized, well, I'm glad it didn't happen, right?
Right.
Yeah. So every moment we are being rerouted towards Him, because He's desperately waiting for us. So it's always the right time.
Good. And Anjali, now asking you personally, from your experience and your opinion, what should be done by us commoners who think that they can integrate something into their daily routine to be able to achieve the Godhead?
Okay. So my personal hack is chanting the holy names of the Lord. It is said in scriptures that the holy name of the Lord is non-different from the Lord Himself. So as soon as you chant the word, however you want to address Him, as soon as you chant that name, the Lord is present. He has like complete attention over you. So you are associating directly with the Lord just by chanting out the name. So that's my personal hack.
Something similar to meditation, or they're two different things?
It is kind of a meditation, but for people of our age, like as you call commoners, I include myself in that.
Right.
Yeah, for me, meditation is quite difficult because my attention span is very limited. With so many things going on and so many other commitments, I can't focus much, okay? And it's also mentioned in the scriptures that for people of our age, which is the Kali Yuga, this is the prescribed method, which is chanting or meditation. In the previous yugas, for sure, it was different prescriptions.
Right.
Like, let's say for an example, when I was doing my internship under my boss, he had this thing of writing down everything, okay, noting in pen and paper he was not very tech savvy, because back in those days, when they studied, there was no computer whatsoever.
Right.
So even if to make financial accounts, so what they would do is they would do that T format, debit,
had a
credit.
joint book and
Exactly, yeah.
passing.
Well, today, if I have to make financial accounts in that format, it's not wrong. I mean, I can do it, right? But I have the software, I have my AI tools. Why don't I use it? And suppose it's just faster, right?
Right.
It's not wrong, or right? It's
just more
faster.
effective.
And it's just more convenient to me, because I was brought up in a background where I used technology while studying. I used computers. So obviously for me, it will be more easier to do it that way. And if you ask me to make that T format, fill the cash book, make the entries, and then post here and there,
Right.
it's gonna be really difficult. I may or may not achieve. Right?
Right.
So for people of our age, where the memory and the attention span, everything is so, and even the age is so limited. So this is the easiest one. You chant aloud, you hear, the holy name enters your ears and it cleanses your heart. The scrubbing purification, which we mentioned in the
Right.
beginning, that takes place, and you're back to your luster shine.
Also, just before we close off, Anjali, does meditation have any place in the scriptures?
Yeah, it is. This is a meditation actually.
Okay.
Chanting is a form of meditation,
Okay.
but it is like you engage your other gross senses, so you can focus your mind better.
I think when we generally talk about meditation, we think of all the postures, which is more of a physical thing.
That's yoga.
Which is yoga, right? And also when it comes to the mind, some would project meditation as thinking of the Lord.
Yes, well, right. Ultimate aim is that even when chanting, ultimately you need to focus on the Lord. But then, how easy or difficult it is if I just start to tell you, okay, close your eyes and focus on the Lord, as vis-a-vis, where I tell you to speak, hear, engage your, even chant on the beads or something, like we have the rosary, we have the tasbih, we have the mala, across all the religions and faiths, right?
Right.
So you engage all your senses in that, and you see the form of the Lord in front of you. So it's more easy for you to focus. Aim is that, but the means are different. And you're speaking about yoga postures. Yes, that is also mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. So what is the ultimate aim is, as you said, focusing on the Lord. Okay, but these postures, how did they help us? They help us to sit. If I am doing my yoga practices, which I do daily, so it just helps me develop that concentration.
Right. So you do also recommend that we read our scriptures, whatever we follow, or is that something you would suggest that we get in touch with, let's say, someone who knows about it, and then we take it further?
Well, if I give you a complete package, I would call it an ABCD package. So A is association, which we mentioned about. We go and speak to somebody who's already there.
Right.
B is books. It's very important to read your scriptures because you understand what are they aiming at. Because sometimes what happens is you read one verse and you miss the second, third line, and you just take that part,
Right.
and the meaning is completely misconstrued.
You misunderstand the context of the entire thing.
Correct.
Right.
So B is that. C, as I said, is chanting, and D is diet. You need to change a bit of your diet. You are what you eat. So you have to be very particular about what you consume. And it's not just food, it's about everything that you consume.
Great. Thank you so much, Anjali. I really enjoyed today's talk with you.
Thank you.
And hope you come back again and again so that we can do more of these talks.
Lord willing, I will be here.
Thank you. Thank you so
so
much.
much.
Thank you.